Hey everybody, Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here. I'll go ahead and give you guys one more video today. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Someone asked me yesterday in my video on anabolics and connective tissue health if I could give natural lifters a little more love on strengthening their connective tissue and what advice I might offer there. And they asked me if I thought heavy partials could be useful for this role. Yes, I do, and I think heavy partials done things like board presses, rack lockouts, things like that are a good means of strengthening connective tissue. But I think if you're not careful, they can be harmful to joints and can damage things, and they need to be done appropriately and correctly. Things like board presses are great because there's no impact involved because you're not hitting a metal joint, you're compressing a bar into a board on your chest, so it's more of a soft touch. Or if you can do them inside of a chain type rack, that can be helpful because there can be a little more give there. And you do need to be aware of that when you are doing things like heavy squat lockouts and bench press lockouts and things in a power rack. You do need to be aware that resting them on the metal pins and then getting loose and retightening and pushing them from a dead stop in that way can be very hard on your joints. So you might be strengthening your connective tissue, but you're damaging your joints potentially. So you do need to be aware of that you could be putting extra wear and tear on them that you don't need to. So if you're going to do rack lockouts like that, try to stay super tight and don't completely let go of the weight on each rep. So you're staying under tension and not jarring the joints as much. But yes, working with a weight heavier than your 1 rep max can be good for strengthening connective tissue through those short ranges of motion. You also need to be aware of if you're doing lifts like that you cannot safely do inside of a rack, you should skip out on those, especially guys trying to do heavy curls and things that way with one arm with a heavy dumbbell on a preacher bench and things. That's a good way to actually tear connective tissue. So you need to have a mechanical means of stopping the weight from overextending when doing heavy partials like that. But they are good for that. They are also good for just increasing the ability of the nervous system to handle a heavier load, and they're good for training yourself psychologically to get ready to work with heavier weights on a given lift for the future because you're getting used to holding that weight through at least part of the range of motion. So they're very good for that, both for the nervous system and for the psychological and confidence aspect. So they're very useful there. But don't try to use them exclusively, because what you have to realize is that due to what we call specificity of training, heavy partials do not always carry over into strength through the full range of motion for a joint. So if you're using them exclusively for a short period of time on a lift, even though your strength may go up through the partial range of motion, you will oftentimes find that your strength reduces when you switch back to the full range of motion over what you had before you started. So they need to be used as a supplement to your training, not as a primary means of training a given lift or body part. I hope this has been informative and helpful to you. That's really all I have to say on the topic today, and I will talk to you next time.